Hi, my tubies. It's me, Sheila True Love. I have a sore throat. Actually, I was home today because I wasn't feeling so well. But anyway, I'm still hanging out here with my tubies. And today's topic for discussion is I'm in love with the narcissist. Please help me. Now, as my tubies know, I'm not a qualified psychologist, but I never talk about things I don't have experience about or have knowledge on. That's one thing I won't do. I have more than enough experience and knowledge when it comes to narcissists. The first thing you'll notice about a narcissist is they are the sweetest people or the sweetest person you have ever met. They will love bomb you so intensely that you believe you've met the man of your dreams. You're going to call up your family. You're going to call up your parents. I finally met him. He's the one. They will call you almost every hour of every day. And if they're not calling you, then they're texting you. They give you this so. This is the thing that gets everybody. They give you so much attention. They'll tell you that they just needed to hear your voice. I love you so much, etc., etc., etc. I don't need to go into detail because my tubies have already been there and experienced that. The one thing about a narcissist is that they fall in love, or what they call love. They fall in love very quickly. They make plans very quickly. They sell you dreams very quickly. You'll notice that everything that a narcissist wants to do is always quickly. They will mold and change themselves into what they think that you want them to be. They will try to give you everything you want during this love bombing stage. Let's go back. Let's think about it. You want them to be a Christian. You want them to go to church. They'll do all of that. You want them to be a thug. They'll be that. You want them to be, how you say, have swag. They'll do that. You want them to act like they're Caucasian, even though they're black as night. They'll do that. They will want to do things for you that no one else has ever done for you. For most women that get caught up with this narcissism, let me tell you what get most women suckered in. It's the extra attention. Okay? That's what gets these women sucked into them. So be careful. If you notice that this man is giving you everything that you want, and they're being overly nice, and this is the main thing, they're overly attentive, especially early on in the relationship or when you're in the dating phase, then you know, my tubies, to fall back, and better yet, watch your back. I think you've noticed in a short period of time also that they mainly talk about themselves. When I look back and I think about it, I can recall how my ex-narc, he never really wanted, to know anything about me. Everything was about him, what he wanted, what was his plans, what was his desires. And I would be asking him questions, truckloads of questions, yet he would never ask me any questions. He wasn't concerned or curious about anything about me. Isn't that how you get to know people better, is to ask questions? He didn't have no concern about me. Just like most narcs, man. They mainly want to talk about themselves. They don't care much about you. Now you have to keep in mind, my tubies, that there are three main stages of narcissism. The first one is love bombing. The second one is devaluing you. And lastly, the third one is the discard. Now, after the first stage, that love bombing thing, it comes the second stage. This is when their mask is falling off or has completely fallen off. You're going to notice how they're going to start making really mean and disrespectful comments to you. They're going to start criticizing you every chance they get. They'll want to try to change you, and you know that's what they're going to do. They'll put you down to make themselves feel better and to try to control you. That's their motive behind putting you down. It's because they're trying to control you, and they're doing everything in their power to make themselves not feel so bad about who they are. And you got to keep in mind, when it comes to this devaluing, they will use all types of tactics, from silent treatments. That's like the number one thing that narcissists use, the silent treatment. Projection, gaslighting, lies, cheating, isolation, threats, and fear. If they could put fear in you. If you see any of these traits, my tubies, you need to run. And I mean run fast. Run for your life. Even when you do some things that are really big, have you ever noticed they will try to make it seem like something very small? They're going to try to minimize everything you do. And the reason why they do this is so they can bring the attention back to themselves. They will emotionally manipulate you so much and drain you so much until you're so weak, or you feel so weak that you can't even fight back. You're exhausted. They will drain you. And I'm telling you, they will drain you only if you let them, tubies. If you let them. You have to realize that before a man puts his hands on you, he will put his abusive words on you first. And then that's when the physical abuse comes. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah, let's look at that. Before he puts his hands on you, he puts his words, his voice on you first. Those abusive words. That's what comes first. And later on, baby, next, you know what's coming. A lot of these guys, not all of them, but I don't know if you've noticed, they usually go after really strong women, because strong women are a challenge to them, and they do everything in their power to break them down. If they could break down a strong woman, then they really feel fueled. They need that fuel that keeps them going. They will try to pick at your self-esteem and try to make you feel insecure and try to make you feel bad about yourself. But another thing I noticed is that they are also initially attracted to us, empaths, because we're everything that they're not. We're everything that they know they will never be. They know that they'll never measure up to where we are. So when it comes to they're trying to tear down your worth, please don't let them do that to you. I'll be damned. First of all, when it comes to me, I'll be damned if I ever let some evil demonic demon break me down after all the hard work that I put, and all the hard work that my mom put a lot of hard work into me, and I put a lot of hard work into me, into building up my self-esteem. You honestly think that I'm going to let some evil demonic demon come along and try to take that away from me? They're playing a losing game when it comes to Sheila Truelove. Let me tell you. And the reason why they're playing a losing game, tubies, is because I have no problem. No problem whatsoever when it comes to getting rid of toxic vampires. I know you've also noticed another thing, how they never take any responsibility for any of the wrong that they do. They'll say something like, yeah, okay, I would have never done that. I would have never done that. I wouldn't have had to do what I did. You're the blame. You're the reason why I did what I did. I wouldn't have had to do that if you wasn't the reason why. I mean, you could honestly be crying your eyes out with these bastards. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to sit there with a straight face, or they're going to have this confused look on their face like they don't understand why you're crying. And the reason why they do that is because they have absolutely no empathy whatsoever. Now, you're going to run into some narcs just so you won't be fooled, you're going to run into some narcs who will apologize. But it's not because they mean it or because they care. They will tell you what they think you want to hear because they know she's fed up. She's fed up with me, and they know that you're getting ready to leave them or you're getting ready to kick them out. That's why they're going to apologize. They give you this meaning apologies to protect their image and to make you honestly think that they care. Please, they don't care, Tubies. Please don't fall for that trick either. The worst thing you can do to a narcissist is to leave them. The best contact with them is no contact. They can't stand being alone. In the beginning, they're going to chase you. You already know that. But if you stand your ground, Tubies, if you stand your ground, eventually they're going to go elsewhere seeking out any type of supply that they can find because they need supply. They need supply like fish need water. They feed on you. They feed on your love. They feed on your attention. They feed on your support. They even feed on your fear if they can make you fearful. Just like a crackhead or a heroin addict need their drugs and a vampire needs blood, they need someone to feed on. That's why all narcissists are cheaters. They always want to make sure that they have some type of supply for backup. That's why, I'll say it again, the best contact for a narcissist is no contact. Now, they'll be upset and they're going to get angry, of course. Who cares? Who cares? But you know what? Stand your ground and they're going to be fine. They're always going to be fine. They'll always find another victim. They're always going to find some new supply because they need someone to validate them continuously. Someone to constantly give them attention. Please validate me. I'm nothing unless you tell me that I'm worth something. It will never end. They constantly need this. They're a bottomless pit, and no matter how much you try to build them up and encourage them and feed their ego, it's never going to be enough, and it's never going to end. They're never going to be satisfied. So please, going forward, don't excuse their bad behavior. Oh, he's just having a bad day, or she's just having a bad day. Honey, people like this don't have just a bad day. They have a bad month. They have a bad year. They have a bad life. It's not because they're just having a bad day, I assure you. Now, when it comes to the discarding part, what you have to do is you have to do your best to discard them before they discard you. I say, check this out. You know how in the beginning, they have all of this love bombing. They're trying to please you. They're very, very agreeable. They are the perfect people. They're like, oh my God, this is a godsend. And you can hang out with that. I say live in the moment. The best way to enjoy life is to live in the moment. Okay? And hang with that. But the moment, they go through that second phase. That second phase is called discarding you. Once they start criticizing you and they start telling you, oh, that don't look good on you. Oh, you don't need to wear that. Yeah, right. You look fat in that. You look terrible in that. The moment they start doing that, that's when you got to discard them. Discard them before they discard you, because you're going to heal better. Okay? If they see you are needy and you're looking for love, they know that you're vulnerable. So they would just use you, and they're going to use you until you have nothing left to give. And if you don't go along with that program of allowing them to use you, they will discard you, or they're going to be working towards discarding you. If they don't discard you immediately, they're working towards it, honey. They're looking for somebody to replace you. So the moment you see the love bombing stop and they go into that, how you say that, that, yeah. They want to go into that, trying to discredit you and trying to tear you down, trying to, Man, that devaluing nonsense. They want to devalue you. The moment you see that devaluing starting to come up, it's time for you to bounce. So, you have one of two choices. You can either stay with your narcissist and take the abuse that they give you and just shut up about it. Stop complaining about them to your friends. Your friends are sick of hearing it because they're saying, yeah, right, if he was that bad, why are you still there? Now you have one or two choices. You can either take the abuse or you could get rid of them. So my tubies, you have to be very, very careful. Very careful. You need to go into these relationships with your eyes wide open. Please don't be so desperate for love and attention that you ignore all the signs. If you had something that happened to you in your childhood, because that's what happens a lot of the time. That's the reason why a lot of the people, they have this trauma bonding. They have things that happen to them in their childhood, that you may not have had resolved. What you need to do is get the professional help that you need. Get that professional help that you need to heal yourself. Please stop believing in the fairy tales, the fantasy, and their Disney World lies. Please, tubies. I'd like to read you. I want to share with you some of the things some of the tubies have said when it came to these narcissists. Michelle Wilson, she said, I saw the signs and walked out, only to find out 2 weeks later that he had gotten involved and hooked up and had sex with my friend. I've managed to maintain no contact for 2 months now, and honestly, she says, I feel like my old self is coming back. So she got out of it. She made it out safely. That's good. And then we have Cece Moya. She says, I'm in shock. I just recently called off my wedding. She was getting ready to get married. I just recently called off my wedding to this man because I knew I wasn't going to make it out alive. I started having anxiety attacks, and it was all caused by the constant mental and emotional abuse. I may have been naive to have stayed with him even after I saw the signs, but I now know better and will continue to be me. She's going to be more vigilant. Recovery time, she says, feels like an eternity, but I can see, she's going to wait and see how strong she's going to become. And then we have Kay Hicks. She says, I dealt with 2 narcs. Mine were always broke, never owned up to anything, couldn't keep or get a job, always talked about themselves. She says she's gotten to the point where she's tuned them out. They're very dramatic, very needy. She said, but the one thing, he was good in bed. He was good in bed, but he was boring. Outside of the bedroom, he was boring. He couldn't even hold a conversation. He was very bold. He was that, bad boy type. If you ever questioned them, she said, he would go ballistic. Also, he loved to do name calling. She said they never go away. They need your narc supply. They still try to contact me, she says, but she says, I cringe every time because they're so annoying. And then we have Bree. She says, my last boyfriend was a narc. Everything you said is true, Sheila True Love. He got me with the love bombing thing. That's how he got me. Then was moving on to the devalue stage. She said he had even got so far as to put his hands on me. She says, but I got out of there and discarded him. I don't play that domestic violence stuff. He was sick, and definitely he was studying me just to manipulate me. So what you think is attention, he's just studying you so he knows best how to manipulate you. She says, so glad got me out of there before my mind and my self-esteem was totally shot. And then we have Karen here. She says, girls be thinking they can change these men, but they won't change. And next thing you know, you'll be in 30 years in, and he still will be that same immature, rude bad boy. You're still expecting to change. She says, my mother has even been through it. My grandmother went through it, being with narcissists. We often overlook these good, nice guys that show that they're into us because we're so busy looking for that challenge with the bad boys. And we think that we could change these bad boys, she says. And then she says, shaking my head, SMH. Please, Sheila True Love, keep up the good work. And then we have another one here. Her name is Kimmy. You described my ex to the T. Love bomb, gifts, restaurants, and lavish holidays all around the world. But then he started criticizing my hair, my nails, my outfits. He called me weird and crazy, emotionally immature, and then some. To the point where I was scared to talk just in case I would just say something stupid and that's going to cause him to blow up. I was afraid to talk. I was walking on eggshells. Everything was about him and his businesses. I told him I wanted to start my own business, and he told me that I would never succeed. Never. After 7 years, I left him. It took a year to get rid of him because he kept hoovering me. A year, for a whole year. She says, I abandoned him. I blocked him on every social media platform, and I changed my phone number. And then she's put, I'm free! Exclamation points all over the place. And I'm happy for her. Good for you, Kimmy. Lastly, we have Dee Dee. Dee Dee says, for those that have ears, please listen. For those who have eyes, please open your eyes to see what you're getting into. Unfortunately, there are some who have to go through the experience and they never recover. And they end up either being the long-suffering wife or wifey, or they end up trying to attempt suicide, or they have died because their self-worth was totally destroyed by these narcissists. This is a very, very serious issue. And that's it, my tubies. So there you have it. Please be very, very careful. You need to go into these relationships with your eyes wide open. Please don't be so desperate for this attention. Stop being so desperate for that. This love and attention. Personally, me, I think that if I get attention, if a woman gives me a compliment, it means so much more to me than if some dude gives me a compliment. I mean, dudes, they get excited just looking at two dogs screwing each other. They get excited by that. These men, they give compliments to anybody who have a big booty and big breasts. Or if you know how these women be talking these days, they be like talking and like, and then they lick their tongue out. Like, they lick their tongue out. That's to show the guy, yeah, I'm down with that, whatever. They get excited over that. Women, they don't get excited over such nonsense. So when a woman gives you a compliment, that means so much more than if some dude gives it to you. And women have got to understand that. If you really need that validation or you need to feel like you're worth something, if that's what you need, then you should appreciate the compliments coming more from women. Because these dudes, they're all reading from the same script. Hello, beautiful. Hello, my queen. Hello, you're gorgeous. Oh, babe, please. The woman could be looking like something that belongs in a cage locked up. And they're still, hello, beautiful. Nah, it don't mean nothing. But when a woman gives you a compliment, honey, that means that, you got it going on for real. Because women are not so apt to do that. Anyway, this is Sheila True Love, truly loving you always. You always have a choice. Please choose wisely. Until next time, bye for now. And I still want to say to my tubies, thank you so much when it comes to the gift and the donations of $7 or more, because I do answer questions and I take the emails and I answer them regularly and I appreciate it. This is my way to supplement my income so I don't have to work two jobs. If I'm working two jobs, I don't have the time to provide for my tubies the information and the encouragement that I think they appreciate from me. So again, I want to thank you so much for the extra work and the donations. Please keep all the emails and all the phone calls coming, because you know why? You know that I love you. Until next time, Sheila True Love, we'll talk again. Bye for now.